Welcome to Cheers TV for another week of independent wine advice and reviews from yours truly, Dan Sims and Ben Edwards. We are from The Wine Guide and we're here to talk you through a little bit of Tasmanian Pinot Noir.
In fact, we'll take it one step further. This is going to be a Venice tour of a map of Tassie.
Absolutely. There's certainly a lot to explore down there.
Yeah, well, the reason we're going to do that is because, unfortunately, when we talk about Tasmania as a wine region, we talk about it as a single GI, or geographic indication. Now, that just doesn't tell the whole story, and given that Pinot Noir has so many different personalities and shows its origins and its heritage better than any other grape variety, it seems silly to think that there's only really one Tasmania. So for the purposes of today, we're going to look at it in 4 distinct parts, aren't we, Dan?
Absolutely. Now, where are we going to start, Ben, in our little Venice map of Tassie tour?
Well, for a couple of reasons. The first one we're going to look at is a 2009 wine from the Tamar Valley. Now, the Tamar Valley's been in the press quite a lot, and people would have heard of the Guns pulp mill that they've been wanting to put in there. A lot of resistance from mainland Australia and also from down in Tasmania. So it's one of those things still sort of kind of unresolved. But what we do have is this really lovely story. And with Tasmania wines, there's a lot of lovely stories. 6 families got together to make this wine, Go to Hill. Now, it's made by Fran Austin, who's a bit of a legend in Tasmania for her winemaking. And this is a 2009, really fresh, really vibrant, got lots of charry, spicy kind of characters. And there's this lovely bright red lift to the wine. And it's got, you know, just fresh, fragrant acidity, just a beautiful wine.
It's certainly all there, isn't it? It's all together. It's just, and really relatively great value. I mean, he's sitting at around a $35 retail wine. You know, that's a lot of wine for $35.
It is, and 91 points. You know, it's a sort of wine that might grow as it bulks out, and that's what happens with Pinot Noir, is that it does tend to put a little bit of weight on. It sort of might grow into a 93-point wine. But for today, standing here now, 91 points, delicious. Go to Hill, you may not have heard of it, but you will in the future.
Okay, moving on from the Launceston area, we're going to continue our Venice map of Tassie tour, and we're going to head down to the east coast. You know, obviously getting a little bit cooler, and we're starting to see a little bit more structure when it comes to the wine.
Definitely.
The next one we're going to have a look at is the Freycinet Louis Pinot Noir, made by Claudio Redenti. This is a really super duper, fantastically bright, fresh, cored fruit with a little bit of spice, but there's structure. These are young. It comes from a younger vineyard, only about 15 years old, but
which
still,
in the terms of Australian Pinot Noir,
is actually not really that young.
No.
But it's still got some wonderful texture and fragrance and weight to it. It's a super wine. I mean, you're looking at around that sort of, basically what, 92 points or so, probably 90, probably actually a little bit more actually, probably 93.
Definitely.
It's certainly got some certain, fantastic weight for it, and around $37 retail. Again, that's a lot of wine for.
And so, if you ask yourself why the other one, the Freycinet, is that much more expensive, well, the vineyard's 30 years old, so, and it's the favoured site. This one, it's cooler. It's meant to be drunk a little bit earlier, I think. Young, fresh, but it's delicious. I reckon it'll age pretty well.
It's a great wine.
No doubt about it. Okay.
Now,
Barringwood Park. Now, this is not a wine that you're particularly familiar with, and we're talking the northwestern Mappy Tassie type of area. So thinking more sort of Davenport-y kind of place. And up here, there's a lot of forests, a lot of glades. There's a big, beautiful lake. It's a little bit different up there, and what we're seeing now, sort of warmer fruited.
You say that about Tasmania?
Maybe. But what we see with the Barringwood Park wine, this is their Forest Raven wine, 2008 vintage. It's sort of warmer fruited, it's warm, it's inviting, it's supple and it's soft. Yeah. Whereas with the others you're seeing more structure and more tannin. This one's just, it's a bit more
generous, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
And 92-point wines. It has been reviewed favourably. It's a lovely wine, and in fact it's their less expensive one than the Mill Park, but I actually prefer it as a drink. Delicious today, and probably a good 3 to 5 year aging proposition.
Right, now heading a little bit further south in our Venice map of Tassie tour, we're going to get to Marilla Estate, their Muse Pinot Noir. Now, as you can tell by the label, it's not your normal wine label, because there are a couple of naked dudes and a couple of naked chicks on it. Well,
it's art, Dan.
It's art, absolutely inspired by the Greek god of wine Dionysus, and he certainly got up to a heck of a lot of fun, didn't he? Now, as we have a look at this wine, this has certainly got a beautiful weight and structure and a firm character to it, but really quite fleshy almost, and it's got some wonderful sort of lifted aromatics and perfume. Absolutely. And when you're talking about it in terms of points, about a 91, point wine, probably 92, $45 retail. It's a heck of a lot of wine for it, isn't it? It's a pretty serious sort of style. But as you're heading further south, aren't you? You're getting into a bit more weight. It's something you've got a little bit more power.
And this original vineyard in the Berriedale it's literally just outside of Hobart, and so it's a beautiful place to visit. Wonderful food, wonderful kitchen, incredible views, and the wine's terrific. Young winemaker there now, Connor van der Rees, he's doing a great job. So there's a lovely shift in philosophies with new owners and the whole lot, but now we're seeing really beautiful wines coming out of there just to match their beautiful labels.
Absolutely. Well, it's pretty sexy, isn't it? Can't help. Sexy wine, sexy label. Why not?
Well, Tasmania is pretty sexy when it comes to Pinots, and we're seeing more of them now on the mainland, which is great. Who knows, we might even get to see them overseas. And on that note,
we'll leave it at that. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.